Today I want to get into RM's album being banned by fans and what happened there. We also need to talk about some of the RM's alleged Islamophobic posts and what happened there. And then V walked out of an event. So, hey Dumplings, it's Dave, decide hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your Dumplings, hey spilling mug merch, and let's go. I want to start with something very funny and cute. This has been a bit of a meme that has circulated and I can't help but laugh. ARMYs are obviously missing BTS, so they have resulted in watching a lot of older BTS moments to compensate. One moment that has recently stuck out was a moment with V. So what happened? So BTS had their reality show or their behind the scenes show called Bangtan Subs. They were at a red carpet event and this was definitely not in China, but the event might have been somewhat Chinese as the reporters was Chinese and the interview was done in Chinese. Of course, Chinese is not our boys' native language and I don't think they know Chinese fluently. I assume they managed, just like how a lot of them did in English interviews, they memorized certain phrases and see where they can place that phrase during the interview. This is what made me think that this was somewhat a Chinese press event because BTS had come prepared, but basically Jin was speaking Chinese a bit and actually had a great pronunciation. V memorized the phrase hello everyone, my name is V in Chinese. That's about all he knew, so when the Chinese interviewer asked him a question involving V's favorite food was, V had no idea what was being said. V decided it would be best to simply say thank you and goodbye, and you could tell that the interviewer understood why V did that. Some people were saying V was being rude, but if you don't know what is going on, there is no point in standing there being like what or huh, especially since the Chinese interview likely didn't speak Korean. So simply ending the interview by saying bye is the perfect response. Also, V probably had no idea that the woman was asking a question and could have likely assumed that the woman just gave V a very strong and beautiful introduction. But the meme that came from this was that people believed that this was actually going to be the perfect response to when they don't know something. So for example, when they go to Korea and don't know how to respond to a question, they will just say thank you and leave. But actually, interesting note, I think if China ever opens up or tightens up their restrictions for K-pop idols and media coming into China, I really do believe every idol would be forced to learn Chinese during their trainee program, similar to learning Japanese. So K-pop is huge in Japan and even Taiwan, but Taiwan is not as big as the entire population of China. But Japan is a huge market, so this is why they release songs in Japanese. Japanese people are not afraid to spend large amounts of money on music, and I also believe that, as I said, if those restrictions tighten up, we will see K-pop idols produce Chinese albums, and thus they will naturally have to do more Chinese press. But since this is not the case right now, it makes perfect sense why the artist may choose to only do a few interviews or learn a few phrases in Chinese. I think it was funny when people were saying that V simply just gave up. He was like, okay, I don't know it, I quit. But hey, it's important to know when to quit. Now, I want to get into some really big drama that is happening right now. And I think it's the first time I have seen some ARMYs struggle to even forgive RM for something that has happened. There were some reports of fans trying to ban RM or BTS's album by burning it, and this has turned into something so much bigger. So what happened and what is the drama for those who don't know? RM posted a lot of songs on his Instagram story. He usually posts whatever he is currently listening to, and it's usually a good insight into what he is feeling. Maybe at the moment or that week he is enjoying that song. It's sometimes upcoming artists and other times it's way more established artists that are not as prevalent in this current time, but still good songs. He recently reposted a song by Frank Ocean. Now, Frank was at a different time period and music is always up for interpretation. So whether he was giving commentary on what was happening at the moment or that was how he felt, that's up for you to decide. Well, Frank Ocean had a lyric in his song that was considered Islamophobic and considered against Muslim culture. Many things have been against Muslim culture. Our nation is very Islamophobic, and so it's a very sensitive thing, and usually when there's a lyric and it's an artistic representation that is even debated as is it or is it not, it will usually mean it is Islamophobic. I mean, it's debated as it is, not that it may not be. People usually assume yes because people like to lean more towards the negative, and if it's not 100% clear that it is not, then people assume that it is. Now, RM reposting this song on his story caused a huge stir as to, does he believe the lyrics and does he feel those Islamophobic things? My answer is going to be biased, but I believe he does not believe those things. But he often will get the brunt of the backlash compared to what other idols may get for reposting the song because he understands English. I honestly do believe he simply just did not know that this was the backlash that the song had. To look up every controversy and every song that was ever created is not realistic and not a realistic expectation to have of any person. It's exhausting to have to do a full history scan of a celebrity before you can stand them. And I think even the art that we may consider as Islamophobic or racist or whatever, we shouldn't be trying to suppress or pretend it never exists. It's important to even look at that type of art and realize the time period that existed historically. We as a nation have tried so hard now to repress, delete, and cancel anyone who talks about historic racist things. Meanwhile, we can't grow as a society without knowing those things existed. Now, I am not here to debate whether Frank Ocean was Islamophobic or not, but understand that may not have been RM's intention, and it's still a song at the end of the day that we can look at and collectively see whether we agree with the message or not. And hopefully if the message is racist, we can collectively say we don't like it. Now, giving RM the benefit of the doubt and simply telling him that the song is not good would be the approach I would go by. Understanding that the person you idolize may not be so familiar with a culture and religion that you are a part of, and so kindly explaining that to them is enough. Whereas some people have opted to burn his album, allegedly, and are trying to completely cancel RM. And I never understood burning an album. I understood that it's a message that you're trying to give to the artist, but you bought the album and it's your money that you're wasting. And I really do think there should be a divide between the artwork and the person. By burning an album you once loved, that is only hurting yourself. Whether the scandal exists or not, the album was still good, and hopefully that was the reason why you bought it, not because RM is a good person. So you were like, let's buy his album. So maybe next time be aware that when buying an album, just buy it because you actually like it, meaning if there's a scandal, you won't go and burn your money. It irks me because I don't think RM had any poor intentions, but the album he made stands on its own and is still a good one even outside of him. The issue got so much bigger than just RM, but apparently fans from other artists and groups came to use this as an example as to why ARMYs should not be supporting BTS. So some alleged Blackpink fans were attacking RM. This caused a trend to be trending where it says Jennie is Islamophobic or that Jennie needs to apologize to Muslims. Obviously this was a somewhat fake trend as Jennie didn't do anything wrong, but it got big. Around this same time, Lotto was trending for something, likely something she did, and maybe it was positive. She saw that on Twitter or X and she decided to make a post thanking her fans for trending her and making her the #1 trend. Right below that trend was the trend that said Jennie needs to apologize to Muslims, or so when Lotto posted that screenshot showing her trending #1, she got a ton of backlash online and people were trending that Lotto needs to apologize to Jennie. And Lotto did that on purpose to hurt Jennie because she obviously supports BTS, so she's doing that to hurt Jennie back. The thing that irks me is that Lotto and many other artists have no clue about the drama that exists between BTS and Blackpink. She would have no idea about the drama that exists within the fandom daily. So if she saw Jennie trending below her, there's a big chance she literally clicked on just her own name and read what was going on with herself and couldn't care less about what the other trends were even about. Her post was literally about herself. And then Lotto's entire comment section is filled with people saying, apologize to Jennie, and that if Lotto doesn't apologize, they won't stop. Good, then keep going. Waste your own day. The only overlap Lotto has with K-pop fans is with BTS fans, and BTS fans are not mad at her now. And her own supporters don't care about Blackpink or Jennie, so she's literally not losing followers but gaining a butt ton of comments, which will just help her. A point that I saw someone say online was that K-pop fans don't realize the majority of people or the global population has no idea what goes on in K-pop on the day-to-day or even in general. I can go on the street and ask a question about hip hop or pop music, and most people would have some general to intermediate knowledge of the stuff that is happening in the industry. Whereas most people on the street aren't even aware that K-pop idols have a trainee program. The fans expect that since their own lives revolve around an idol, that every celebrity and every other person's life revolves around said celebrity as well. And it's just not true. And this idea is further pushed because their entire feed is filled with K-pop, so they think that this is just what the entire world sees. To think that Lotto had any idea before the spamming of comments that RM is under backlash or Jennie is getting hate is completely ludicrous. That's like saying that you, a K-pop fan, have any idea what's the tea that is happening within the tractor community on social media. But then you wake up to a spam of comments saying, you know what you did, stop trying to get clout by doing this, and it's like, huh? I think RM would be disappointed to see this type of reaction, and from people who are upset because RM has always said to love yourself and love others. So naturally, he would never purposely post something that was inciting hate, and if he did, then why is it not considered an accident but considered a vindictive move? And if he honestly hated a group or people or religion, why would he post it publicly? So you could lose out on sales? Why not keep it quiet and then still get the sales? So those are my thoughts and what I think his reaction could even be for this. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks, just leave a comment right here. Love you. Bye.